Supposed to be up to about 90, well, between 96 and 100 degrees here in Charlotte today, which I know that's kind of cool to some people. There's Todrick. Anyway, Todd, how's things going?
It's all right.
How's are you selling a lot of stuff,
Um, the
or are you
big
selling
stuff
more
is
high
kind of
tick?
big stuff is kind of saving my bacon.
Right,
All the all the bread and butter stuff that I used to do pretty good with,
right.
it's just flat. I ain't selling hardly anything like that.
Good morning, Mr. Sadie. It's
So I get like maybe 2 or 3 sales a week on something that's a little more high dollar, and so
there's the link if anybody wants to come in.
that's
You're
keeping
welcome.
it at a pretty good average. But
Hey, lag. Honestly, I've been selling like one or two things a week. I haven't been listing. I just been busy with other things, and it's stuff that I've had listed for like plumbing fixtures, that type of stuff. I mean, I I bought some at a it used to be govdeals.com. I don't know if it's still even there or not. But I bought a
no,
bunch of bought a bunch of stuff from a city auction, and I just I must have had 20 of the, like this one fixture right here. I must have had 20 of them, and I've just been selling once in a while. So, and there was other fixtures and plumbing things, and it's good morning, Mr. Beard.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing good.
Uh, this is your political announcement for today. Keep your head on a swivel. The Supreme Court's up. If they're going to do it anytime soon, it's Roe Wade fight would go down today.
What is?
Roe versus Wade.
Oh,
They're expecting Supreme Court announcements on cases today, and you know that January 6th farce that they're putting on TV right now.
right.
They pushed it back till tomorrow and canceled it for the day. The Democrats don't do anything for. They claim that they were having trouble getting the exhibits ready. They've been doing that for 17 months. That's a lie. They know something's coming. So just be careful out there because some of these bigger cities there might be riots or there might be other stuff. Uh, I don't really think the South's got anything to worry about, but
they built a wall around the um, Planned Parenthood in Waco.
Yeah, they did around. They did that here in Charlotte too.
yeah, because the big thing is once they declare it null, 13 states have clauses that immediately make abortion illegal. And Alabama is not one of those 13 because in 2018 we put up the most aggressive uh, anti-abortion in the country, and it's got a stay from a judge on it. So the state of Alabama would move immediately to get rid of the stay because the law would no longer be. They're saying it might be unconstitutional, but once Roe Wade goes down, Alabama would be the 14th state.
Right.
So
Good, good morning, Craig. Good morning, Junk Trader.
you just got to pay attention to what goes on around you because people are crazy right now. People are crazy.
It is, and I honestly believe, like real quick, quick. Like now, what's gas prices for everybody? It's like six. It's 4.69 a gallon here.
I got gas actually at 441.
I bought yesterday for two. I'm still used to saying two. 4.53.
And I think
But you got diesel.
my buddy Dave
No,
in California was they were over $6 now.
no, the F-250 burns gas.
Oh, okay. I thought you had a diesel. I know Tara has diesels.
Most
Um,
F-250s are diesel, but mine is gas.
Has anybody seen diesel unavailable? I'm starting to see videos from truck drivers saying that some of these big truck stops are running out of diesel on the interstates. I haven't seen it locally, but
Did you
the
see where Biden fussed at the oil companies? You're not going to take an excessive profit. Okay, let's just remove the American dream and not let anybody make any money ever because the president says so.
so, see,
But
gas on when Trump had gas into the low ones and the mid ones, the gas companies they were not making money there, and so they went a while, they struggled. So I'm sure they're justified about saying we didn't make any money in 16 or 17 and 18, but yeah.
yeah, well, they
you,
shut down all those refineries during COVID. There were probably three uh, different plants in the Houston area that just shut down, and now they
And
can't restart them because they're antiquated.
right.
the hard thing that everybody kind of overlooked last week too is Biden increased the amount of ethanol in gas. So that's just going to put a 40-some% of corn already goes to gas, and that was at 10%. Now they're allowed to put 15% in, or they're mandated to put 15% in.
Great.
So
That'll
watch your
drive the
small engine.
prices up too.
If you've got a small engine and it was already struggling to gum up your carburetor at 10%, they just increased that by 50%.
Sorry.
Hey, Beth.
Great.
Um,
So,
it's really going well. Like my family, I said, Roberta had to go back to the office today. She's got to go back in once a week. But when she got to her desk, she didn't have a telephone. So this might be the only day she goes back into the office. But I've told my family, I said, we've got to plan our trips. I mean, it cost me $100 to fill up my Outlook yesterday. Now, mind you, I think it was about to run on fumes. But I said, we're just going to start, which we're not a big going all the time persons anyway. But we're just going to have to watch what we're driving, and because they're expecting it to get even higher here in North Carolina. And since my oldest son's paying for his own gas now, he's a lot more conservative about what he's doing, where he's going. Is that trip necessary?
I basically parked the F-250. The
Did you?
gasoline that's in the tank in the F-250 that's left costs $3.50 a gallon.
Heineshana. Well, it's like my brother, he has a land surveying company, and his trucks are on the road all the time. He said his prices of gas, or his gas bill has gone up 25% already. And he's trying not to pass it on to the consumer, but he's getting ready to have to say, hey, we're going to have to raise prices for a little while. And
So this last tank of gas I put in the van, I'm like, I'm gonna reset the little mileage tracker. I'm gonna go. I wonder what happens if I drive it like somebody's grandma. Can I get 4 or 5 more? That lasted like one day, and I'm like, oh man, the hell with this.
good morning, Sally. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm just trying to figure out, are we on Queen City Picker channel?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Because it
Yeah.
wasn't,
Look
it
up in the
wasn't
corner.
coming up that you're streaming right now.
There's a big Queen City Picker in the corner.
Well, somebody. Good morning, Jim and Tara. There's a people are coming into the chat, so it must be somewhere. Are you not subscribed to me, Sally?
I don't think so. I found another account of yours and it says Queen City Picker, but this video is not on there. Oh, there it is.
Okay.
Yeah, you
There
gotta
it is. I
scroll
lied.
down one.
I
Yeah, I did
lied.
the same thing, Sally.
Not on there.
Tom,
Okay.
you have some kind of stripper account that we don't know about.
Yeah.
I was trying. Did you guys put a link in the squad?
I don't think so. I mean, the regular morning chat I did. I am
I
so
will.
out of practice with doing this, Sally.
Uh-huh.
I am. You know, it's been so long. Because Roberta, I mean, I think I've done like 2 shows since Roberta's been working at home because, like, when I get finished here, I've got a lot of stuff I got to get done. So, because I'm going to be making noises, moving stuff around, and I don't want to bother her while she's at work because, you know, while she's on conference calls and stuff like
Right.
that. And so,
I was looking through my subscription feed. Silver
I'm glad you're here.
Queen City Picker. What?
well, Todd and Sally's been doing it all the time, and I said yesterday because they seem to be busy this week, I said I'd do it today if need be. And
Thank you. I appreciate it.
because you got a appointment with the doctors, don't you? Or have you already done it, Sally?
No, it's tomorrow.
Oh,
I have to go 3 times this week.
oh, okay.
So, Tom, are you having the same oppressive heat that we're getting in Alabama right now?
It's going to be between 96 and 100 today.
Yeah, our heat index is pushing 110 today. It was 109 yesterday.
With the heat index, if you're going to figure that in, it's supposed to be like 106 or 107.
I mean, you walk outside and it's like you walk into a wall of just steam.
We must have had a cold front. We're only going to be 97 today.
Dang.
Sunday was 105.
Yeah, I think, and we've got a few more days of it because I think it's supposed to cool off like 5 or 6 degrees, but then Monday and Tuesday we're back up to almost 100.
Yeah. We're supposed to get up to 91, I think.
Somebody come get drunk Mother Nature and tell her to take her home.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're below 100 today, but every other day for the foreseeable future is over 100.
You know, I don't know whether if Valerie's listening or not, since she's a new resident of our area, but usually when we have, and you probably remember this too, Scott, when we have like 100-degree temperatures, we were hitting almost 100-degree temperatures in May. It seems like we have really cold, wet winters that year. That, you know, like this winter, we'll have cold and wet. And so, you know, it might be cold here all winter long with snow. It's just the way it is, because it normally does not get this hot until like the middle of July or the last part of July.
Because we had wing night last night. So me, Harlan, and a friend Tracy, and he's another reseller. He's at some of the chats. T Flips. We've had mild summers the last few summers, and then the winters have been kind of mild. So you just wonder. I mean, we got 2 dustings this year. They, you know, overnight you wake up in the morning. There's white stuff in the yard, and by the afternoon it's gone. But that's all we've gotten for the last couple of years, and then the summers just not been hot.
Deb made it. She was lost. She was like, "Is it on your channel or Todd's?" I'm like, "It's Tom's," and she's like,
Who the hell is Tom? Yeah.
Mom's channel needed some love today. Come on, you guys.
I just I have forgotten how to do all this mess because it's been so long since I've done them. Um,
Yeah.
with the
Tom put
heat,
me on before he went live, and he had his volume all the way down, and he couldn't hear me for like 15 minutes.
I was like, Todd, can
I
you
Tom,
hear
I'm
me?
know.
talking to you. I even typed it
Yeah.
in the Facebook and on here. Hey,
So I jumped over to YouTube and started playing a video that I know I watched last night, and it didn't work. And then I realized I didn't have my earphones in,
Oh,
and so I reached up there and hit that volume plus button a few times, and I could hear Todd talk.
mm,
Because usually I have my headphones on if I'm at the computer because I'm either, you know,
mine's kind of cool. I have a scrolly. I have a scroll one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have a primitive. I have an old Logitech keyboard, and it's got the buttons up at the top. Um, with all the heat and the gas prices, are y'all? How's that affecting how you doing your business? Or do you got enough stuff you don't have to worry about getting out into the heat and to
Yeah,
the?
I have enough stuff.
I have way more. So I did have to go to my storage building yesterday. I got up at 6. I was at the storage building at 7. I'm like, I'm not going to pass out and be dead in the storage building. So I filled the van up and came home. So
Wag, Wag says he was looking for drag queen city picker at first. Oh, that's hilarious.
he
You know,
probably saw some interesting channels.
yeah. years ag-
That's too funny.
years ago, I was doing some. I was doing trailer checking and at theaters, and I was also like pulling box office receipts. And then I would also have to like count people to see certain movies. And we had a local produced movie called Drag, and it was about, damn, I forgot the name of it. Was it Shuffletown, Scott? The big drag strip that used to be up towards Raleigh. Anyway, it was about the history of that, and we had 3 drag queens come in, and they came back out of it and said, because I was standing out there counting people to see how many people actually went to see it. They came, they came out and said, "This is about racing," and I said, "Yes, ma'am." And she said, "Well, I don't want to see a movie about racing," so I said, "Go see the manager." But the posters everywhere had people in dragsters and whatnot. So I thought, which that if you want to see some, I'm not saying the drag queens are freaks, but I'm just talking about in general. Go get to the theater early and stand out in the lobby and watch people come and go. You will see some odd creatures pass through there. Good
Wait a
morning.
minute, that's false advertising. You telling me that when I see RuPaul Drag Race and they got like the racing flags, they're not racing cars?
No, they're not racing cars.
Oh,
And
okay.
Roberta loves that shit.
so I was going to help you out by googling drag strips in North Carolina. I didn't realize there were so damn many of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up and I knew there was one in Kinston, the Kinston drag strip, but there must be 20 or 30 drag strips just in the middle of the state.
Yeah. There's a huge one down near Darlington. And but I just didn't know whether, I mean, like, I know Bridget and Todd have like a room full of crap. I didn't know whether y'all were like that, and I assumed that Scott did too, because he looks like he's got a bunch of stuff behind him, and I didn't know what kind of
I have a lot.
backlog you have.
If at the
Yeah,
rate I
that's right.
list, if I didn't buy anything for 18 months, I would be fine.
Yep.
I could just list all the inventory I've got. I've got so much stuff. And yesterday I went to my auction pickup. But like you were talking about saving gas, my auction, because they're an hour and 15 minutes away, they're letting me go for 3 auctions bidding online before they require me to come and pick it up.
Well, that's kind of nice.
So, yeah, I mean, if I take the little car, it's $30 worth of gas, and if I take the truck, it's 40. So they're saving me
Yeah.
$40 an auction.
Yeah, the one that
Well,
the one that we sell at, Carla and I go. We have to go take stuff every Monday. So if I buy something, they just put it on my table, so I don't have to go get it on Friday like everybody else. I just pick it up on Monday when I'm there. You know, saves me it's for 30 miles one way, so it's a 60-mile trip.
I ran over the weekend. I ran into a lady who used to do auctions, physical auctions at storage units, and which she had some health problems, so she got out of it. But she said that they are talk. She said that she's talked to other auctioneers, and they are so glad that most of these storage units are now going to like online because it's just too hot for these old people to stand out there. And but then if you talk to the storage unit places, they don't like it because they're not getting any money for the bins because people have time to like zoom in on the pictures and all that and see what's actually in there, or as much, see if there's anything good up front that they can see. And
Well, everybody can sit in front of a computer and do it online, but you got to have a little bit of commitment to go stand out in a parking lot and wait for them to get auctioned off.
absolutely.
Yeah, you always do better at a live
Yeah, you always will do better at even like a high bid auction. I mean, for buying, you'll do better at a live auction because people will spend money. They get
People
sick
gotta
of
leave, they gotta
standing
be
there.
Yeah.
They got to leave. Where at night when high bid's going off, I mean, they all have an app. They sit in front of a computer and watch it go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, everybody who's done live auctions knows that the last hour of the auction, there ain't nobody there. You know,
Yeah,
you're getting bigger deals, and
yeah.
My spouse passed. I have to be at the funeral.
No, I gotta go to a graduation party. I can't stand here. Yeah. So you have to be patient because the first hour and a half of an auction, I mean, you'll have stuff that'll be like, oh my God, this stuff's going so high. You just wait through that shit,
you
and then you
never,
start
ever
getting
leave an
deals.
auction. Never. You're having
Wait,
a very
I need to ask Mike something. Mike, do you have a Tesla?
No, he has a Jeep.
he's just saying that.
Okay, I just wondered because I just couldn't.
We're talking about gas, and he's saying buy a Tesla.
Yeah. How much can you haul in a Tesla? I mean, it's just like a 4-door car, isn't it?
Oh yeah, we just got our
Yeah.
electric bill. It was zero.
Oh, we got free
Yeah,
electric.
electricity's free, so your Tesla won't cost anything.
Oh, that's good.
How do you do
One
that?
less thing to worry about.
Yeah, air conditioning, don't worry about it. It's all free this
Oh, it
year.
must be all that wind energy.
Okay, so Tom was talking about watching YouTube videos last. When you start watching stuff like I'll be out here working and I'll just throw on Bigfoot videos or something just for entertainment, and it's amazing your feed what they suggest you. And so I got one yesterday about the coming apocalypse, and then the interesting one was on the Hoover Dam. You know, Mike mentioned rolling blackouts. The Hoover Dam is at the lake is at its lowest level, and they're already having to cut back power by 30% because of turbines. You know, the pressure of the water is down because there's not as much water. And
I will say, if you ever go out west, that Hoover Dam tour is worth taking. I did it as a kid. It's really cool.
so go ahead and buy Teslas. You know, they're already telling you rolling blackouts, and that's before they factor in the Hoover Dam. They're going to end up having to cut at least half the power from it here shortly.
Yeah, well, France is not cut. They were going to shut down one of their big nuclear power plants. They're not going to do it. They're going to keep it running. So, I mean, if you want to run everything on electricity, you're going to have to figure out something to do with the nuclear waste because that's about the only way. I mean, there's just too many damn people. If you're going to power everybody, not use fossil fuels, you're going to be using atomic energy.
Yeah, not to mention California just is in the process of shutting down their last nuclear plant. So yeah, good luck out there with all
Didn't
that.
they stop though? Honestly, didn't that nut over there, Newsom, stop that, shutting it down?
I doubt it.
I thought I heard that
He's
somewhere.
not a nut. His hair is perfect.
It is perfect.
He's a communist like the rest of them.
Amazing.
We have a nuclear power plant on Lake Wiley, and it's steaming away over there. Which I think the power that comes, most of the power that it produces is like sent to Virginia.
Oh.
Get it?
Woo.
I think not. I think like 75% of our electric is coal fired here.
And most of Texas is natural gas fired.
Yeah.
And we're having a drought, so they can't.
Oh,
the
you're
hydro,
having a drought over there? That's not good.
the lakes are starting to drop down because they're
shit.
trying to run the hydro plants. So that's dropping the water level. So these people that's got these boats that should be out on the damn ocean and not on this little PS baby lake, they can't go as fast as they want to.
So Terry, you are correct. So that power plant is scheduled. The last one in California is scheduled to close in 2025. But Newsom is now kind of. Let's see if the feds want to pay to help us keep this thing going. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with him, but I did hear it on some news that I heard he was slowing that down because of this. They're having problems with blackouts and stuff.
I mean, this is not just an ordinary power plant. This is the largest electricity producer for the state of California.
Yeah.
You know what happens when you take away the how many windmills and all this other stuff you got to have to replace the largest supply of electricity in the most populous state in the nation. Good luck.
Todd, I don't know whether you saw it in the chat, but Mike was wanting to know: is there any way to invest in copper? We're going to need a lot of it here shortly.
The stuff that they make into coins is way overpriced, so I wouldn't do that. I don't know. Other than just go on. You can
It's got to be
buy.
in like a futures market or something. You would think.
Yeah, you can buy. You can buy paper copper, kind of like paper silver and paper gold. But I don't. Everything I've got is physical.
Hi, Carol.
I'll tell you what: if you go to sell copper or aluminum, any of that kind of stuff at our recycling places around here, you better have some docs with you, some documentation. Not as far as where you got it from, but driver's license, that type of stuff.
Yeah, they're really bad downstate, like in the Detroit area where there's a lot of abandoned houses and stuff.
Yeah, they go pull the copper.
Yeah, as soon as that house is abandoned, they freaking pull all the wiring and copper out of it.
Now,
If anybody in the audience hasn't just driven through I think it's the north side of Detroit. If you want to see something, you owe it to yourself to drive through there.
a buddy of mine owns a city block of Detroit. Back, a few years ago when you could buy a lot up there for like $50.
Right.
He got an inheritance and he bought a whole city block up there for nearly nothing. And I said, "What the hell are you going to do with land in Detroit? Because you hate cold weather worse than I do." He said, "Well, my great grandkid. By the time I have great grandkids, they'll figure out what to do with Detroit, and it's going to be worth a lot of money because they're not making any more land."
Raise corn.
There has been a revival in Detroit, but it's just in certain areas. It was amazing when I was doing retail arbitrage. You go through Detroit, and you'd be in some of the worst whatever, and then every other house will be burnt down, and you're like, "Am I going to live if I drive down this street?" And then the next door I go to, it's in beautiful area. I mean, it's really odd how close proximity the bad and the good are in that city.
It's we were talking about Teslas, sorta. I think they have two models. They have the little one, and then they have the big sedan. Now the big sedan looks nice, and I've ridden in one of those, and it rides.
They have three. They have four models, I think.
Mm.
The little one is ugly as sin. Sorry if anybody has one. That's just my opinion. But the big ones are. I mean, they look really nice and they ride really good. And the people that own it say they can drive to Myrtle Beach and back without
Honestly,
charging.
they say with what they cost for like charging up electrical charges and that. I just saw a thing on the news that they really aren't that much cheaper than driving a gasoline car.
Well, North
I
Carolina,
mean, it's like maybe like 18 cents cheaper
North
per
Carolina is
mile.
right now. They're not paying a road use tax. North Carolina
Oh,
is
that'll
looking at
stop.
doing a road is getting ready to put together a road use tax on cars. So when you go in and get your inspection, even though you're not doing an emissions inspection, they're doing a mileage inspection on it to see how many miles you've had since the last year,
Oh,
and
it's
therefore you will get a tax
after
bill.
that it's green. The stock market's green.
Hey Todd, show me that again once they officially announce the 75 basis points they're about to raise.
That comes. What time does that come out today?
No telling it. It's usually right before noon, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna. You don't think that's already priced in? I mean, the stock market has really gone down.
But you know what? There was a rumor it might be a half, it might be 75, and yeah.
Well, it was supposed to be a quarter,
Yeah, I
wasn't
heard
it?
it's gonna be 75.
And then I think yesterday I heard 75. Maybe
Yeah,
they'll
see
only
the-
do
See that, Tom? The Teslas, you've got the X, which is the SUV. You got the Y, which is the smaller SUV. You've got the Model 3, and then you've got the original sedan. So you got 4 of them.
Okay.
I didn't even
rode
know they had an SUV.
I rode in an SUV. I flew in the Maine, and I stayed at a hotel, and I needed to go back to the airport to get a rental car. And the little hotel guy goes, his shuttle van is gone. He goes, "No worry, I take you." And he did something on his phone. I'm like, he said, "All right, we're ready to go." His car drove through the parking lot up to the front of the door. I'm like, "Oh, I'd never ridden in that Tesla," and it was pretty interesting. The technology is very interesting. I don't know. I want to be dependent on electricity right now, but
You know, right now that we have a dealership, but we don't have a dealership. They don't have any cars on the lot. If you want one, they order you one, and apparently they're like, it's going to be next year before you can get a Tesla here.
correct.
And because everybody's wanting them because gas is going up.
Well, you got to
Could be
have the
next-
home charger for them, which are like $2,000 or $3,000. Because I know those people in Wisconsin, they were wealthy. They would come up north with their Teslas, and then they couldn't drive them all weekend because it would take the whole weekend to charge them back up, so they could drive them back to Chicago because they just have plugged into regular current up north because they didn't have the
Well, we're going to
charger.
tax it with Jesus out of them, so they're not going to be able to afford a Tesla either. There, life's going to suck for everybody, not just us. You're going to live you're going to be living a crappy life with the rest of us.
There's this guy down in Chester County below me, and he's got a lot of creeks running across his property, and he's got his own little hydro dam down there, and he powers all of his farm buildings and that kind of stuff from that little hydro plant. I mean, that little hydro dam, but it's not just one dam. It's like 4 little ones. So the water fills from one basin to the next and then goes through that little dam to the next one.
We could do a hydro dam.
No, it scares the fish. You can't do that.
Oh.
These are, these are little creeks that, you have snakes. That's about it.
Well, all those snakes are important, though.
Yeah, you displace them when you dam up their creek.
Yeah. I think they better do a study on that creek and make sure he's not violating stuff.
Jim got all excited because he saw a little tiny rainbow
I'm
trout in
sure.
our creek.
I'm sure he is violating all kinds of things, but half the game wardens and everybody else, he's got like 4,000 acres down there.
Oh boy.
He's probably, all these guys come hunt deer on his property during seasons and turkey. So, and I'm sure they've seen it.
Is this crazy Eustace that used to be on Mountain Men that was in North Carolina? Have you ever watched that show? Anyway.
Yeah, I'll be riding his horse to the courthouse when he gets his new improved taxes. You made over $400,000. You're getting taxed.
Lag says, the electric F-150s and Silverados start at $40,000.
What the fuck you do with an F-150? And I'm
language.
sorry I said the F word.
I want to know where you're finding any truck for $40,000.
No, that's what it came out at. But the problem is it gives you a range of like 250 miles. If you hook something up to it like a trailer or you put a payload in it, you immediately cut the range in half. So you've got a truck that you can drive 125 miles and I've got to sit it for several hours to charge it. Man, it's never going to work. It's just going to be people who want to say they've got a truck.
That ain't what you're gonna do.
it's
You're gonna ride
people-
the bus or you're gonna ride a bicycle. That's what they want you to do. They don't want you to have personal vehicles.
Well, we've just about we're building a greenway in Charlotte, and we're just about connected the north side to the south side, so you can get on it and start pedaling and go from one side to the other. Do you think
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
That is the ultimate goal.
That's why they're putting in all these bicycle paths and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But who the hell wants to be out pedaling a bike when it's
It ain't about
100
what you
degrees?
want. It ain't about
exactly? Look at all this goodness right here. You think
Yeah.
my fat ass is going to be on a Schwinn pedaling to the north side of Charlotte?
We were in Vicksburg one year and it was hot as blazes.
Oh, God.
And we decided to drive and do the driving tour of the Civil War Park. So this guy is coming out on his bike. And he wasn't fat, but he was a heftier guy. He's definitely big built. He looked like somebody dumped a bucket of water on him. I mean, the beads of sweat are just running off his face. And Jim's driving the truck. He's like, oh, kind of a hot day to ride a bike. I mean, that guy, if looks could kill, he'd
And
have
he
killed
did not
Jim.
say a word.
I
He
didn't
just
say
gave me a look.
anything. Yeah. He's
With
probably
the
like,
days-
Yankee, please.
With the days we've been having here, I walk from my car to the front of Publix, and I am washed down in sweat.
Oh, you're a big wimp. You should be used to it, Todd. Tom.
Like
What the frick
like-
happened to my computer?
like Scott said a while ago,
What
you
the-
get out, you walk out of
I
the,
did something
you just open
stupid.
your door up, and you just like hitting the daggum shower when you go out there. The humidity's so high.
It showed me
Yeah.
a big picture of Wayne Gretzky.
I walked out here this morning and the glass on the door, it's just a solid wall of water. You can't even see in the door.
Oh boy.
Oh, we're getting that condensation on the windows.
No.
The house looks like a big beer can.
You know, if you got like one of these electric trucks, like me, I'm not hauling anything like that. If it requires too much manual labor, I have Lowe's or Home Depot deliver it. Or there's a guy across the street that's got like 7 pickup trucks because he has a lawn service.
Yeah, I don't see where an electric truck is very feasible for anything. I guess if you're gonna have an electric car, it should be like small. I mean, lightweight, efficient. I don't see where like these electric Hummers and that this big heavy ass vehicle going down the road. I don't see where that's very practical being electric.
I mean,
If you
I
can
can
afford
tell
an
you if
electric truck, you ain't paying enough taxes.
Okay.
You need to pay higher.
We should pay extra taxes because you drive an electric
Damn
truck.
straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to pay your fair share.
That's not right.
You rich ass big electric truck driver. I know. I like how it's like a good benefit to you. We're gonna make the rich pay more taxes. Well, how the hell does that benefit me? You guys are getting all the money from these rich people. I ain't getting squat. If
Oh,
they're gonna
boy.
take from the rich and then pay to me, then I'd be for it.
I mean, it might work if you've got 2 cars and one of them's electric, and so you've got one that you can, if you need to go 300, 400, 500 miles, and the other one if you're just going to drive around town and I could see where that would be helpful, but to depend on something to go more than its range, and you got to start adding all these stops in that are hours at a time. Okay, so somebody said 80% in 45 minutes. If you've ever taken a trip and you stop somewhere for 45 minutes, it feels like 3 hours, 4 hours, because by the
Well,
time
I'm going to ask out of curiosity, because me and Jim, I asked this, do you really see very many of the charging stations like at gas stations?
so the city of Huntsville, they're building a new one right now in front of our new Midtown area, only has 10 charging stations. Until this new one comes online, this area has 500,000 people for 10 charging stations.
Yeah. Because we have none here, and granted, I'm more rural than you. Well, there's one that Jim's like, oh no, there's one that's like a half hour
Hodgensville.
from us in Hodgensville. But like, because he drives to Wisconsin, I'm like, when you go off of I-65, how many of those charging stations do you see? You don't see none.
Hodgensville is the birthplace of Lincoln.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you the one interesting thing. So another reseller that lives in Connecticut. When I was up there one of the times, I went to yard sales with her, and she drove the Tesla. And so if you're going to go anywhere, it plots. So you say if you want to go from here to, say I want to go visit Jim and Kara, and it's what a couple 300 miles. If it needs charging, it'll tell you where the charging station is and plan it so your route. It'll tell you, charging station A is here. You will get there with 20% battery. It'll do all that for you, so you're not actually hunting it. It'll tell you exactly when it routes. It tells you where to go, so where the charging station is. So.
Well, if you come to rural Kentucky, you'll be zigzagging.
I think there might be a charging station in Louisville, or there's one of those Tesla
an
superchargers.
hour away from us.
Yeah.
There's companies now that don't manufacture cars, but they have charging stations like every so often on the interstates, like I-40. I watched a YouTube video where this guy was driving a Ford Mustang EV or whatever the hell they call them, and he had no problem finding on interstate. He had no problem finding charging stations as long as it wasn't like prime time of the day, because then everybody's lining up to charge.
So how long does it take to charge your car at the charging station?
I have no idea.
And he
I think
said
fast.
they would have like 20 charging stations, and then over it is like an old style cafe, because people go over there, eat lunch, get them some coffee, whatnot, while they're waiting for the cars to charge.
How long does it take at one of those charging stations to charge up your car?
Depends on what level it is. So they have levels like 1, 2, and 3, and each level is a much stronger charger. And the key is getting it up to 80%. It's because it's like your cell phone. If you go charge your phone, it'll get to 80s real quick, but it's that last 20 that's really takes a lot of power to get it there. So a lot of when you look at the route, I was watching, Amy was explaining to me, it'll tell you when you leave the charger, you'll be at 80 or 84%, because the time, it'd be another 45 minutes to get the last 20. And so it depends on what the power of the charger is. I think Tesla has what they call supercharger. That's the highest level.
I have no problem with electric cars. I mean, I think it's great. It's innovative and stuff. But I don't think right now you don't try to cut off a established system to try to switch it all to electric cars when you don't have the electric cars in place to be able to do
I want
this.
to put in a supercharger and we'll have a side hustle. We can charge all these city people's electric.
Yeah, like they're gonna let you do that.
Well, if you look around, there's companies that's looking for investors.
I mean, not to mention, they're not the answer. If you look at the batteries and what it takes to put one of these cars on the road, and how much diesel it takes to put one. Toyota is working on the hydrogen, where it's the hydrogen, sort of like the natural gas.
Yeah.
Powers and the only output is water. But the problem there is there's no hydrogen. You can fill it up in 45 minutes, but there's no place to get it. There's only a few stations.
Yeah.
And that's a much cleaner alternative. The batteries
wasn't there like a lithium shortage like a few years ago?
Yeah, they couldn't make phones because there wasn't enough lithium for phone batteries. How the hell are you gonna fill pickup trucks with batteries?
Volvo has apparently got some electric trucks out on the road, semis out on the road.
Yeah.
They're
not enough to
impact
anything because they're probably still in the trial phase.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, the problem is the battery can't hold enough energy for those big trucks. But the hydrogen, Toyota's also, they make more than just regular cars. They're working on it where you'll be able to pull in and put hydrogen gas in one of these big trucks, and it would operate very similar to where they are now. That thought just went blasting right through my head. It's the hydrogen cars. Or the fuel cells. There's two little pieces of metal that's used inside that fuel cell that causes the reaction to create the hydrogen or the fuel. To split the hydrogen. Yeah. Right. Those two little pieces that go inside that fuel tank is more toxic. You take like 100 of those and you've got the toxicity of a nuclear power plant, because they just become so toxic from the reaction that's in it.
So, it's a case where now what are you going to do with all this stuff?
So, so Fishing and Picking had a question for you, Tom. Did you read it?
You're an asshole, Fish. Let me tell you what, my first vehicle was a 1965 Corvair.
Oh, I thought he was going to say like a 1906 Palm, the horseless carriage.
I was gonna say,
Right.
why did you wait so long before you start driving?
Yo are
How old were you when
harsh.
you got that car?
Yo are harsh. And I hate to say it because I sound like an old pawpaw. I can remember I could fill up my Jeep CJ5 for like $6.
Hey, when I was in high school, I would put $2 of gas in it, and it would give me a quarter tank and a Pontiac Sunbird,
When I was
which Jim makes fun of me for.
when I was a kid, they gave you the gas free.
You
and
deserve it.
Yeah, I was just waiting for Tom to go. I had to choose between the Model A and the Model T.
God, don't get on my bad list now. Actually, I grew up in Rock Hill, our backdoor neighbor had a Model T. He had one of the old ones. You had to crank it, up front.
Yeah, that's the T.
And I did not realize that they use those things for farming. That they would.
They did. They converted them to tractors.
They made a disc harrow to go behind it, and they would drag it around in the fields.
But they made Model A's though that were crank start too. I mean, you had the crank in the early Model A's. They also had the crank. You had electric start, but you had the crank in case your battery went dead.
Yep. Yeah, I keep thinking I have to oil up the harnesses before I go drive anywhere.
I like when they used to have a spark advance on your steering wheel.
When we lived up north, there's a city just south of us with a bunch of Kentucks, Crandon area. They were buying, after Korea War, they'd be buying these military surplus Jeeps, and they were making them into tractors and running plowing fields.
Also, farmers were buying tanks with no turrets, so that you could pull, like you could use them as field tractors.
Yeah, but there was people I knew that had those Jeeps that they used as tractors.
They were, when I was in high school, I was dating a girl. Her dad had a concrete plant, and he would get these periodicals for heavy machinery, and they were selling U.S. surplus, like Vietnam era tanks, less the turret, for like just using around construction yards or farmers using them as field tractors. So you could buy a tank, and I think it was like $6-7 grand.
Oh, that'd be handy.
It just didn't have a turret on it.
So, is there anybody who didn't, as a kid, ride backwards in a station wagon?
Oh yeah.
With them damn seats pointing backwards.
Yeah. Or you didn't even have the seat down. You were just sleeping back there in the back seat. Yeah. You were talking about the tank. In 2000, when Roberta and I were in Ukraine getting Sasha and Vanya.
He has dated a lot of women, Beth.
We had a facility. I mean, we had a translator with us, and we were going over to the orphanage. And on the way to the orphanage, we had to stop because of traffic, which was where we were at. Traffic was not a big thing, but our translator got out and asked some other people what the problem was, and apparently some guys from the military had decided they were going to drive this big ass tank down the middle of a 5-lane road, and the city police department was like all over their ass because they were tearing up the road with the tracks on that tank.
Yeah, it really wrecks the asphalt.
So what they were having to do was this big truck came up with all these old rubber tires, and they had to like line them up, and the tank had to drive on top of the rubber tires.
Yeah.
To whatever
distance
they were at.
That's the law.
I've seen them do it in Wisconsin. To cross the paved road, they got to lay down lines of tires to go across.
You'll get it with an excavator. Most of those tracked excavators, when they got to cross the road or working your road, they got to lay down rubber pads or whatever for them to drive on.
But not here when that tornado came through, because there's a bunch of trees down. They brought the cleat tracks down on the road, and now they repaved the road because they wrecked the road.
Yeah, those cleat tracks ate the road out.
Yeah, Joe. My dad would buy, because he had his own business. He would buy all kinds of crap to use as survey vehicles, and I drove. The kids at high school, my high school, never knew what I was gonna come driving up with. It might be a '65 Pontiac station wagon, and tomorrow it'll be a pickup truck.
Maybe.
And because he would buy this crap, and they would drive them. They put a lot of miles on this stuff real fast, and like I said, I drove all kinds of stuff.
You didn't drive, Tom. You were in your Colonel Sanders suit. And somebody was driving you around, like driving Miss Daisy. Was driving Mr. Tom.
My most favorite vehicle was a 1973 Ford Thunderbird. That's where it's got the one that's got the 8-foot long hood on it.
Yeah.
It had a 460. Yeah, it's a 464 is General Motors, right, Jim? 460 is Ford.
454 is a General Motors.
Okay.
454 is a General Motors.
Ford was a 460, I think.
460. That thing would fly. I mean, you'd be running down I-26 to Charleston from where I live at 80 miles an hour, and you'd feel like you're sitting still because it just sat there and just cruised.
Yeah, my dad, he had a great idea. I'm gonna get you an old car to learn. It was a '73 LTD.
Those were the days. Gas was cheap. You could have big.
You make that thing so loud. You get up there and I just turn the capsule and breathe it over. The engine's twice as loud.
That was a tank too. The LTD.
It was turd brown too, with a vinyl roof.
Was it 4-door?
It was a 2-door.
Oh, it was a sport.
I was styling with a 2-door.
You know what?
Did you hear what Jim said, Tom?
No, I wasn't paying him any attention because I know it'll piss me off.
This is actually funny, Tom. Okay, say it again, Jim. This one's funny.
I just pictured Tom sitting in the car waiting for his driver to go into the service station and get him a sarsaparilla.
Let me tell you what.
Oh man, I got a big one. I'll pull it over.
If I was rich, I definitely would have a car and a driver. I hate driving. I would pay somebody to drive me around.
I love
you probably heard it.
Y'all are really being asses today now. Is this like an initiation back into the YouTube?
You be standing next to the car, you hear somebody say, "Master Tom, can I get you a sandwich with that too?"
Oh my God, that.
Oh Lord.
Oh, we're gonna get in trouble today.
I know that this one's getting demonetized real fast. Like if it was monetized,
we can get him an outfit like Miss Daisy. Driving Miss Daisy.
Yeah.
I
Driving Mr. Tom. If somebody was good at doing like YouTube clips, you could make like a mini movie driving Mr. Tom around.
Yeah, I tell you what, my wife, I love my wife more than life itself. I'd take a bullet for her. She pisses me off big time when I get in the car with her because she wants to tell me how to drive because I'm old. And I'm like, do you want to drive? Because I'll pull this damn thing over in a minute and let you get behind the wheel. And she knows I will because I do not like to drive.
I drive everywhere.
Tara's my driver.
Really? Do you sit in the back seat and say, do you have the air conditioning on?
Unless we have to back up. Then she wants to switch, so I have to back the car up.
I can back a car up. Oh, yeah. Okay. But we'll be at an auction or something. He'll be backing up. I'll be doing something. He goes, where do you go?
No,
you just
wander off
disappear.
and talk to somebody's dumbass about some crap they don't even care about. You ever get one of those people when they talk about something you don't care about, and you got a funny feeling even they don't care about what you're talking about, but they won't shut up because you're busy trying to do something at an auction? That is not a person I like. That drives me nuts. Anyway, she'll wander off. This person, I'm backing up a trailer. She'll wander off with this jughead who has some stupid question, and I'm running over stuff with the trailer because she ain't back there.
Well, why don't you get a trailer? Why don't you get a truck with a backup camera on?
Oh yeah. What do we look like?
Well, if I'm gonna do that, then I'm just gonna put the backup camera on my hot air balloon. I have my
Well,
brother.
then I'll just have the butler back the
I'll have
trailer
my
up.
butler go stand all day at the auction and bid on stuff. Jives, what did you buy today?
Oh, that was a horrible buy, Jives.
My dad's last truck was
Backup
an
camera on a hot air balloon.
F-250
Well, you got Todd's buddy, or no, Tom's buddy.
with the King Ranch package on it.
Oh yeah.
That was his last. That was the last truck he bought before he couldn't drive anymore. That sucker had a Rolls Royce, or Bentley doesn't have anything that this thing didn't have on it.
Those
Like
King
you
Ranch
should put on the
trucks
dash
were
and the
good.
tailgate would go down.
Yeah, those King Ranch, they were pretty deluxe. It was a pretty nice truck. I'm not a Ford person, but they were pretty nice truck.
And I was like, Dad, why did you buy this truck? He says, well, when we go any place, I always have to drive, and I like sitting up high so I can see everybody. I can see
And
everything.
backup camera, Tom. The newest vehicle we own, I think, is a 2005, isn't it, Jim?
Yes.
Well, get out there in the backyard. Get out there. Same thing I tell Todd. Get out there in the backyard with your shovel and dig up a couple of those.
I ain't got no money to dig up.
Yeah, we just bought a truck. It was a 2000. We just bought.
We just bought a new to us truck. I
It's a
spent all my
2000.
money.
I don't like the new diesels because you got to put that DEF juice in it.
The death cheese.
Pre-2007.
You have a diesel, don't you?
Yeah, I got 3 of them.
3 of them. We got 2 7.3s and 1 6.5 Chevy.
Yeah, I just bought that. I just bought an F550. So don't be talking to me about your 250s or your 150s or none of that stuff.
That 550 is an 18,000-pound truck. And boy, is it good on fuel. It's real easy. I just love filling that little bitch up.
Hey,
It's got a 40-gallon tank, and I mean, I don't get out of the gas station. I already burned a quarter tank. It blows black smoke all over the place. It sucks fuel like it's a drunken sailor.
You have enough to drive out of the gas station and go home and go.
Yeah, they put $150 in it and it don't fill it up.
Oh, but I didn't even get it over. I got just under 3/4 of a tank.
Yeah,
and my credit card clicked off at 150 because you got to do
so you
multiple
have to do another
I
transaction.
didn't have the heart to do it. I'm like, screw it, I'm leaving. That was just to get it home. Because the guy says the gas gauge is iffy when it gets down to a quarter tank. Sometimes it won't read all the way to empty because it's been replaced. So I'm like, well, I got just under a half a tank. You better go top it off. Put 150 in there. It just barely got to 3/4 of a tank.
So we use it every day, like when we take our kid to school and stuff.
But that was in Indiana. The fuel back then was already really high. It
Oh,
was
Indiana
it was like
gas is
it was
high.
like $5.60 when it was still like $5 everywhere else. Indiana is horrible for fuel.
One of the neighbors has their son has one of those battery powered. It looks like a fancy golf cart, but it's street legal.
Yeah, EV. Well, whatever. They're low speed vehicles license. I think.
Yeah.
Right. He can't go on any roads that's rated 40 miles an hour or higher.
Yeah.
Anyway, his dad was telling me that when the kid was driving to high school, he said his friends gave him hell about his little raggedy golf cart. And he's like, yep, but I'm not riding the big yellow limo to school.
Oh, Jim had one of those shit-ass ugly Ford Festivas. It was robin's egg blue, but I mean, I'll tell you, when gas was high, I mean, that thing, who cares? It didn't burn it. It got like
stick. It got 48 miles to a gallon on the highway.
I was like, I wish I had that little thing.
It cost me one day. We went down to Chicago from Eagle River. That's the whole length of the state of Wisconsin down to O'Hare Airport. I put $17 worth of fuel in it, and we went all the way to Chicago.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny is I remember as a Ute burning a tank of gas driving from one end of Cherry Road to the other, which bisects the city of Rock Hill. And I don't know how many miles it is, but on the Friday nights we would ride up and down that road, and we would cut through the McDonald's and the Hardee's, and didn't think a thing about it. Now I'm like, somebody better turn them damn lights off in this house. You know.
Well, I think back to when I was a kid, and I grew up around Milwaukee, so I was in the metro area. I mean, do you remember like in the 70s and 80s, you had all those 70s cars, and they were all blowing like black, gray exhaust. You'd always have these fumes in that. I mean, you don't really have that as bad anymore. Not nearly as bad as what it used to be. So they have improved that.
Lag, yeah, I remember gas was $2.52. That was like what, last week or a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I think it was the last year Trump was president.
It's
Political.
I mean, I distinctly remember gas lines having to wait in gas to get $10 worth of gas, back in the 70s. And because my dad's company had lots of trucks, we spent just about all day, and they didn't work on the weekends. We spent all weekend going around and filling up vehicles with gas $10 at a time.
Well, this is scary. Jim drove from here, Kentucky, to Eagle River and back. Did that cost you $1,000 in fuel?
About $850 probably.
$850 in fuel to go that. So it's like 700 miles one way.
Okay, Tara, I'm gonna tell you like I tell people when they say you buy storage units. Do you have anything out there that's really worth that much money? These people run up $2,000 storage fees on these storage buildings, and they've got 3 boxes of unpaid bills.
No, they don't have that kind of stuff up there. I don't know. I got 2 Ford tractors that got to come home. I got a 3/4 ton truck I'm bringing home. I'm gonna bring my Volkswagen Beetle here because it gets better gas mileage.
Can you not find somebody that's got a car hauler and pay them to bring all that stuff down here at one time?
I think they would still cost more than having Jim do it. And honestly, we make money this time this one was out of pocket, but like now I sold my semi trailer. Jim's gonna go back up there in about 10 days. He's gonna meet that guy to finish that transaction. So my semi trailer is gonna pay for one of the trips of gas. It is what it is, and I gotta sell the semi anyway.
Yeah, we can't use it down here anyhow.
No.
We couldn't get it on the property with the bridge.
We wouldn't make it through weigh stations. It wouldn't pass inspection.
And I don't have a semi tractor.
True.
I don't think that F550 can pull a semi.
That'd be a sight, though.
Yeah.
I mean, hook the F550 to it.
Yeah.
Oh, Jim did get rid of his RV, though, Tom.
Oh, he did.
Well, he gave it to his oldest son. They want to camp and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So that hunting land that Jim sold this winter, there was an old camper on. He goes, "Oh, do you think I could have that and fix it up?" He's like, "Oh, we sold that." He's like, "Oh." He's like, "I'll make you one better. I got a motorhome. You can have it." Anyway.
Well, at least he doesn't have to worry about moving it until he gets it street legal.
Yeah, I thought about it. I can't drive it into the hereafter. You came into the world naked, you go out of the world naked. I can't take it with me. He's going to put it to better use than I will. I'd be sitting here fixing it up and working on it. I never take it camping or nothing. Him and his wife want to go camping, they'll actually put it to use.
Yeah.
Scott, you're from my neck of the woods. Every time you talk about taking that RV, pulling that RV to Kentucky, all I can think of is Tara driving her big diesel truck with a chain and a piece of pipe.
No, we did that once. No, we almost got divorced. He bought an RV at an auction, and I never told my husband what to do, but I did touch his arm. I'm like, let it go. But he couldn't do it. He buys it. He gets a screwy idea. We're going to flat tow it an hour home. So he's down there, disconnected, drive shaft, getting it all ready. We go down there. I'm pulling it with my red 3/4 ton. And all of a sudden, the 3/4 ton, all this black smoke comes flying out by the drive. I'm like, oh my God, he killed my truck. I'm going to kill him. So anyway, we're on the side of the road. Now tell him what I look like when I got out of the truck.
She looked like she was ready to divorce me. She gave me the look like, why did I marry you? I could just tell, I could see it all in her eyes. She looked like she actually hated me. I'm like, oh my God, this is not good.
Yeah.
But I swear, when he started talking about taking that RV to Kentucky. I can just see it coming down the interstate.
No,
Char driving like hell, and Jim trying to keep that.
I didn't even want to follow him.
Well, and he's a sheriff's deputy. Well, now he's a detective in the sheriff's department. So, I mean, he's got pull because he's like, well, yeah, what kind of paperwork I have to go? You're a detective. Go down to the DOT and tell them what your situation is. They're gonna jump all the hoops for you. He goes, yeah, you're right. I'm like, yeah, you gotta use your position a little bit. You're a cop.
Mike says that I've got it mixed up. That Jim and Tara have 7 trucks, 3 trailers, and a train caboose they got to bring down.
We have a train caboose.
You've said
But honestly, we really, I mean, Jim hauled a lot of stuff out of there last year. We really are getting down on finishing
now,
stuff.
but
There's cleanup work to do.
in all seriousness, though, I have a 1984 Oldsmobile. I have a 1947 Fraser.
Get rid of it.
I have two AMC CJ7 Jeeps.
Get rid of them.
I got 1965 Scout, International Scout.
Yeah.
I got a Chevy truck, Volkswagen Beetle, and 2 Ford tractors, and miscellaneous trailers, and that's about it. Oh no, and an AMC 1991 Jeep Grand Wagoneer
Oh yeah, that can.
or Grand Cherokee. I'm sorry.
Don't you have a couple of Volkswagen things and about a dozen?
Oh,
Oh, I wish. Oh, Kubel. I like those. The Kubel wagon, Volkswagen thing. Yeah, I like those.
So I'm not the only one who thinks, I'm listening to the Clamp is revisited.
You should have saw us a week ago. So Jim's driving back home in the early morning
Oh, God,
with
that's
a
so
box
embarrassing.
truck. So he's pulling a trailer down behind him. He's like an hour, maybe a half hour, 40 minutes from our house. The tire comes off. He has to leave this trailer, this junk trailer on the side of the road, comes home, comes and gets me, gets in the diesel, hooks up to the flatbed. We go back out on the interstate to pick up our junk trailer.
I didn't. My kid did the lug nuts up north, and I didn't. I checked the one side, and I said, "Well, this side's good, so the other side must be good." Don't do that. Take the extra time to go check the lug nuts on the other side.
Anyway, so we're on the side of
to my
it.
story about a man named Jim.
Yeah, and so what did he look like? We had to unload the trailer to winch the other trailer up on the flatbed, reload all this junk on the trailer. Jim's like 3 days dirty because he's been in Eagle River without a shower. He's got 4-day beard on his face. He looks like a hobo. All he needs is like a stogie in his mouth.
Yeah, and we're on this top of this incline, like Elizabethtown, Kentucky, on 65. I mean, you got those hills going into Elizabethtown. I mean, we're on a pretty good incline there too. I mean, you got truckers are all climbing these hills. They see us, they give us a little hit on the air horns or whatever. Yeah, it was a really
we look real.
It's one of those moments when you really feel like you're really somebody that's
We
accomplished
look like
something.
Sanford and Son.
Fish, you're from the coastal areas of North Carolina. At least you've lived there for a while. I'm sure you've seen somebody with the pipe, the chain, towing somebody's car.
I've done it.
See, now that'd be some good YouTubing right there now.
No, because if me and Jim start arguing with each other, I would never make that in any kind of video.
Especially when the car's got power steering on it.
You leave that in there because that's what people want to see.
No, I would be too embarrassed.
It's my dad didn't think a thing about. He didn't think it was wrong at all to hook something up with a chain and a pipe and move it. Why call a tow truck? Why stay in a hotel when you can just keep driving? Why get a tow truck when you can just get a piece of pipe? And we always had pipe, around. So and chains.
And depending on how close you were to home, my dad wouldn't even change the tire. He'd just finish driving at home. They dropped me off somewhere in the middle of them. I was going on a field trip. I get back, my brother goes, "You missed it all." I'm like, "What I missed?" He goes, "We were like 3 miles from the house and blew the back tire." He got out and looked at it and said, "Oh, fuck it," and drove it home. He's like, "It's 4 in the morning. I'm not changing this tire."
Yeah, Mike, Adventures of Jim and Tara would be great.
Oh, yeah.
That's they need to get to their chairs up, sit like what was it? Carter used to do the fireside chats. He'd sit in a chair beside the fireplace at the White House. Well, that's what y'all need to do. Y'all need to get you 2 nice wingback chairs and sit on each side of your fireplace and y'all relive stories.
I can't wait till this winter when we get the fireside chat. Well, y'all just gotta buy sweaters and turn down your thermostat and wear
I'm
a
a little
sweater.
young for that.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Telling you guys sitting there telling everybody they gotta wear a sweater because there's no energy.
Freaking Georgia peanut farmer. He don't even know what a sweater is.
Oh boy. You weren't old enough.
I
to
was
vote
a
for him.
child.
Everybody in your family voted for him.
We had, but I can remember back when there was electric crunch. Let's see. I guess that was in the like early 70s. And the governor of North Carolina, the state Christmas tree would only stay lit as long as his kids could pedal a bicycle that had a generator hooked to it.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. They would get out there and they would pedal that bicycle, and it would light the Christmas tree.
If that was my dad, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm not pedaling your electric bike.
I thought you were going to tell me they lit it up with candles.
Nah.
Stringing the popcorn.
See, Jim and Tara need to get that fellow who got Tom a sandwich to run a video camera for y'all when you're wandering around.
No, in those stressful situations, because we don't really fight, but he'll start calling me honey or dear, and then we're irritating each other when he starts calling me those kind of terms.
Since Scott's he does a lot of videos out on the road and whatnot, and walking around flea markets. I really thought about seeing if I could find about 5 or 6 of the old camcorders,
right?
You get to put up on your shoulder, and get them all fixed up and get tapes, and to send them out to like to Scott and some of these other people that do these on the road type things, and see how far they get walking around with that thing all day long videotaping. But
are you going to do the 127 in Kentucky, Scott, or no?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how far I'm gonna go. I'm throwing around this idea of building a bed in my truck and just leaving here on Wednesday and sleeping in the truck and pulling the trailer.
Oh, you're doing it gym style.
Yeah, so I don't. It depends on if I do it with Harlan, then we'll just use the van or whatever. But
well, maybe if we're around, we'll meet you out on a 127 and have lunch or something. If you're like around Danville or something.
Make sure you pack deodorant and a toothbrush and toothpaste so you stay fresh.
and some little wipes or something.
Yeah. Jim doesn't do any of those stuff because if you saw me come back from Wisconsin, I mean, he looked like a hobo.
Yeah, but I got deodorant and toothpaste.
He did go to the thrift store though and buy a clean pair of jeans for the ride home.
Junk Trader said none of the nicey rally root stuff. We need raw Jim and Tara.
Raw footage.
Raw footage, yeah. That'd be scary.
They just seem to be the perfect couple.
Uh-huh.
They never argue.
No, we do argue. So we don't really argue. When we're mad at each other,
we debate stuff.
He start calling me dear. And I'll call him asshole.
Well, that's when you're being unreasonable.
Oh,
it's my version of bless your heart.
Bless your heart. Scott, before we wrap this thing up because it's getting late, Tara and Jim's senator. He's citing them on this gun law amendment.
No, Mitch McConnell.
Oh, the turtle?
Mitch McConnell sucks.
What all is that supposed to be? I mean,
it's a walk in the park. It's they're going to do more extensive background checks on kids or adults under 21, and they're going to do more shoring up schools, which is good. They're going to put more money in mental health, which is good. And then they're going to do this red flag thing, which is bad, but I don't know what the hell you can do about it. The red flag thing is where if I call up the cops and say my neighbor is crazy and he's got guns, you should take him away. The cops are going to show up with a pickup truck and take the guy's guns away. Now, they'll decide later whether or not they should give them back, but for safety's sake, they're just going to take them. Can you see that being abused?
It's not. It'll never get there. It'll never get there because they struck down red flag laws at the Supreme Court. Last year 9-0. This wasn't an accident. It was 9-0. It was the vote. I mean,
It violates due process. I mean, there's no there. If there was due process, I'd be okay with it. But there is no due process, and you just can't take people's stuff. Because I went through this with a restraining order. I watched somebody get a restraining order. The judge never says no to the restraining order, because if he says no to it and somebody gets hurt or killed, it's his fault. So that's why they'll always give it. They'll always grant the restraining order, and they're always going to grant this red flag thing.
But and also there's an issue of shall not be infringed. Shall not be infringed.
Yep.
I just
I
knew he
knew
was.
somebody that was going through a divorce, and his wife got a restraining order on him. And they went in the house and they took all the guns out because she was like, "Oh, I'm scared" or whatever. And it took them about a year and a half to get those guns back.
And when you get
And this isn't like this year. This is like, oh, this has got to be like 8 years ago now.
And when they come with the pickup truck, they literally throw them in the back of the pickup truck because they're like teaching you a lesson not to be naughty. There's the wood is all gouged up. If you got a scope, you can kiss that goodbye. You know, your iron sights are knocked off. I mean, they're just throwing these things in the back of the truck, literally. And when you get them back, it's like, well, that's what you get.
You know, I don't, with all these shootings and stuff like that, pardon my French, folks, but we're just raising a bunch of pussies.
I would disagree,
When
Tom.
I
I don't think it's a bunch, though. I think it's a very small number. It's a very small number of these people, individuals, doing this stuff. When you shoot somebody or use a weapon in a crime, you should. I like when Florida had that 10 years sentencing. You got sentenced. If you used a firearm in a crime, you go away for 10 years. No questions asked, no reduced sentence or whatever. That would at least take them out of circulation for 10 years. It's a small population, a small percentage causing all the trouble.
Because Scott and I have talked about it before. When I was in high school during deer season, boys would show up and park in the school parking lot with their pickup truck with a couple of shotguns sitting in the gun rack. I doubt they were even locked. The trucks were even locked. But that was common. People just were more grown up, I guess.
Well,
I don't know what it was.
I don't know what the penalty for horse thieving is today. But back in the time when they hung you in public, you stole a horse. They hung you in the public square for everybody to see. You know that nobody stole horses. You know, it sounds like over the top, but it did stop people. It stopped that small amount of people who were stealing other people's horses from doing it. And that's what you got to do. You got to enforce the law and make the penalty stiff. And there ain't no getting around it. Where they're buying their way out of these things, or they got a liberal DA or whatever letting them walk.
Now the person that shot up the school, they're planning on dying anyway. But I don't know why why that person got in that school that easily. Why was that door not locked?
Propped open with a brick.
Yeah, why that should never have been like that.
That's why you never see one of these mass shootings at a courthouse, because it's too hard to target.
Yeah, Judge Ryder.
Yeah, so I had a bad boating accident too, and so this morning I'm going to go buy another gun this morning. So to replace all my other ones that got lost. It was terrible.
Well, when they ask you how many guns you own, you take that number times 0, and that's the number of guns you own. Because I don't know, like where y'all are at, but like if you go to the doctor, and it was in Wisconsin and here too, one of the questions they ask you is,
it's CDC.
Do you have guns, and are they securely stored? Which of course I reply, I have no guns.
And do you feel safe at home? But that's CDC, so that's national.
Yeah, because so I'm going to get a Taurus 3C because I want a concealed carry that's 12+1, and they've got them on sale for $215. I'm like, I'm in.
Oh wow!
So me and a friend are meeting there at 10 o'clock to buy. Tried to talk Harlan into it, but yeah, that didn't work.
Yeah.
My nephew, my brother's son, he works for a company, and they make it's called Haybo, and they have like sportswear with their branding on it. But the owner also owns a gun shop, a hunting supply store, and they have all kinds of shotguns and guns and stuff like that. I can go down there and I can buy long guns, shotguns, rifles, no problem at all. I can't buy a daggum handgun from them, and I probably could get. I know I could get it at cost
Well, do
because
you have a mandatory waiting
I live
period
in North
in your
Carolina.
state?
I live in North Carolina, so they can't sell it to me because they're in South Carolina. But they can sell it to me, but they have to ship it to a
A
store.
dealer.
You
in-
can't buy a long gun
Yeah.
then in South Carolina either, can you? They have to ship it up to a gun dealer in your state.
Yeah, that's what they do. They ship it up there. Well, that's another $150 right there.
Yeah.
And
But that's nationwide. Yeah, like if we'd go to an auction over the border,
In Michigan, we
I
couldn't
couldn't buy a
gun.
gun at that auction.
you know what? I believe that you can do a lot more damage with a high-powered rifle than you can, with a handgun, because you can get, at least you can get off at a distance and shoot, not
Yeah,
have
so
to be
that's
right on
what
top of people.
That's what we're replacing this as my personal carry. Never be more than a hand reach away from one.
I don't condone. I mean, I don't have. I didn't have guns. Excuse me. I don't have guns until everything started going to hell in a handbasket. People not respecting the rights of other people, because I don't hunt.
Yeah,
And so I never had the need to have a gun, because I'm not getting my fat ass up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go sit in a tree hoping a damn deer will come by. You know what? I mean, it's simple as that. Or go sit in a boat at the crack of dawn hoping a Daffy Duck comes busting it by there.
Yeah, if you want to see something interesting, if you look at the last couple of years, the purchases of guns and what percentage of those guns are first-time owners, it's incredible the amount of first-time gun owners in the last couple of years who are purchasing guns.
well, people don't feel safe. I mean, you had all the stuff going on in 2020 with all these gun crimes and the riots and everything. I mean, you just push people into gun ownership.
All you gotta do is go get a VHS or a DVD of some old Western movie, and everybody's walking around with a gun on their hip. They all got a rifle. There's all this shooting and whatever going on. The reason, because you didn't have law. When the law came west, that's when that stuff stopped. And what you got right now is there's no law, because you keep letting criminals right back out on the street. This is a problem you're going to have. People are going to take the law into their own hands.
And the other thing is,
and it ain't good. I think they should bring. I think they should bring common sense. If they want to do something common sense, do common sense sentencing and common sense incarceration of violent criminals.
And then you have like up in Michigan where their gas budget is getting tight. So now they're trying to handle some of the calls into the police department over the phone. Well, how safe do you feel then? I mean, then it's like, I'm going to need something to protect myself.
Todd's got his gun rifle out now.
Oh boy.
He's bracketed it.
I just have one question. What the hell is wrong with people these days? They have lost all freaking common sense. I mean, you just keep reading stuff in the paper, and it's like, what are these people thinking? What would make them do that kind of stuff?
I can tell you what's wrong with it. Since the mid '60s, when they put all this welfare in place, and welfare replaced the father in a lot of families, they have systematically destroyed the family. And where there's a look at the people there have been terrible train wrecks. Did they have a father and a mother? Usually, there's a lot of good single parents out there, but the statistics don't lie. It is the destruction of the family has really created a nightmare for society.
I made one of my liberal friends very, very unhappy back when South Carolina still had poker machines. I told him, I said, you know what? I think they need to take, because we had a person that was found guilty of murder and he was going to get the chair. But they were saying it's going to be like 5 years because of all the appeals and whatnot. I told her, I said, what my opinion is? I said, you hook old Sparky up to a bank of daggone poker machines and let people go in there and play those machines, and you can appeal until you somebody gets a royal flush, and then you're not with us any longer. Well, and I said, and the state would make some money off of it too. Boy, you would have thought I pissed in her face with that.
Oh boy!
Oh boy, Tom's
Tom,
really.
Tom, you have a lot of power. The one thing that y'all can do in the state of North Carolina to really piss a liver off, y'all need the next election comes up, elect Mark Robinson, the governor of New York. North Carolina. Holy, that dude is a firebrand. He don't give a crap about your lieutenant governor. Is an awesome dude. He don't care what people say.
Yeah.
Mark, he's on to be a superstar governor for North Carolina.
I think a lot of people. Well, we've had a lot of our Democratic congressmen here had like 5 and 6 people running against them in the primary, and the ones that didn't win by very much.
Both of your senators sold us out on the gun bill.
Yeah.
Both North Carolina senators.
And I wish the other one would retire. But it's, my biggest thing is just what is wrong with people? What are people thinking?
You can't let people off on the small crimes either. I mean, you have a society right now where people are going into Walgreens or whatever with bags and just stealing stuff straight off the shelves. I mean, it's like stepping stones. So what do you do next? That's a worse crime because you feel emboldened that you can just go to a store and steal a $980 worth of inventory. I mean,
after I retired and I started doing merchandising, I don't know how many of y'all have Family Dollars around you.
Yeah.
I used to do some stuff in Family Dollars, and there was a really lovely African American young lady that had one of the worst stores in Charlotte for theft. She would send your ass down the road if you stole a gumball out of a pack of or a stick of gum out of a pack of gum. She would throw everything at you she could throw to make sure you regretted it. And I mean, that's just the way she was. And finally the word got on the street that if you mess with her, she's going to have you sent to jail. And her thefts started dropping down. And then most of it was employee theft, and she sent them to jail. I mean, I just really think that's what it's going to get. I
don't know. I mean, I will say the area I live in, I don't see that kind of stuff. But I see the video on TV. I mean, can you imagine? There's people literally going in Walmart and grabbing a big screen TV and just taking it out the door, and people try to stop them, but nobody can.
Yeah, and that's what's next. Or somebody gets frustrated, then tells try to stop them when somebody gets hurt.
Yeah.
People will take the law into their own hands and people get hurt.
Yeah.
Speaking of an inventory, then I got to get out of here. It's 30 minutes past my appointed time. If any of y'all have Lidl stores around you, it's the German-based grocery stores. They're little ones. Around here, we have their Jurassic Park Matchbox cars for $2.99, and they're selling for around $14.50 with shipping. And I think so. Anyway, if y'all want to check it out, there's your little tip for the day. I think it was like $5 profit off of each one of them if you sold them.
I never even heard of Lidl.
It's a little Lidl.com. Go to it, and it's a small grocery store, which I think is what all the big grocery stores need to go to. They don't have 12 different types of washing powders and 8 different types of toilet paper and all that kind of stuff. So
I was scared of the legs at baby formula. I was a little scared of it because before the big baby formula crisis, I got a price gouging thing on a listing of baby formula I had. So I'm like, I just don't want to mess with it. I don't want to lose my account over it.
But Big Mac to Russia.
So Tom, it looks like you're just up and down the coast, or Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, up through New York. So if you don't live on the East Coast, you're not going to find one.
I don't know if that's a limit. I mean, I don't know whether that's just for them or whether like Walmart has them or whatnot.
You water my flowers.
They're Jurassic Park.
All of them.
Hot Wheels, and they look like part of it looks like the dinosaur. I think it's for that new movie that's coming out. But oh yeah, well that's the way it is. If you got a thin skin, you don't need to be in my show. Because I'm gonna make you mad. So anyway, that's your maybe a little tip for the day if you have them.
Thank you for doing the show today.
One thing about Lidl's, they have some damn good bread. Like I need to be eating bread, but they have a great bakery.
Mm.
Don't do anything I type in chat. Yeah. Anyway, is there anything anybody had about retailing that you want to talk about before we close this? Do what?
What did you say?
I said, does anyone have anything to say about retailing before we leave?
Yeah, so don't just buy the one car. This looks like the sets Tom are selling for $50 a set in those cars. If you get only just 5 of them in a set, they're selling for $50.
I was just telling you, thank you for doing the show today.
The old Jurassic Park
I
Hot Wheels
appreciate
cars
it.
are so cheap
It
at
was
the
fun.
store.
Maybe next Wednesday, if she's still not here,
We'll
do
set it up. However, got to do it.
because she.
Yep.
I said, like I said earlier, she went into her debt. She had to go in. She's got to start going in at least one day a week. And I told her that would be good. It gets you out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to walk from the car to her office instead of walking from here to the bedroom or to the bathroom. I said, so you get a little exercise in there.
Yeah.
And but she didn't have a phone. They've changed her monitor. I said, are you sure you're at the right place? Did they not reassign you to another desk? And she's like, I don't know. So it seems like they've changed the use of the area of the building she's in. Like maybe it's more to callers, technical support type stuff. So she might be back. But if not, I'll do it again next Wednesday. And
it looks like if you can sell them on Amazon, they're more expensive on Amazon.
I don't know whether that's a Lidl exclusive or whether everybody's got them, but
is it Hot Wheels?
Yeah, they're Hot Wheels, Jurassic Park.
I think I saw them at Walmart too, but I think they're more expensive than $2.99.
Yeah, Matchbox makes a set too, but they're not worth as much.
Oh.
So anyway, thank you all for coming in. I really had fun. Todrick, as always, he's got to be more aggressive.
I can't get a word in edgewise when Tom and Tara and Jim are going.
Oh boy, well you just gotta speak up. If you start talking, I'll shut up.
What is it? The old high school cheer? Be aggressive. Be aggressive. So anyway, y'all have a great day. See you next week. Sally, you doing? Todd, you having it tomorrow?
I guess so. Yeah.
Okay, so looking for you over on Todd's channel. Scott, are you still doing a morning show?
Come back to a good channel tomorrow.
Yeah,
I haven't been. I might do it again, but as of right now, I'm not doing anything.
For most people, I think it's kind of hard in the morning anymore, and so anyway, keep an eye out for Scott's channel.
It'd been easier for me to do a night one. I might try it at night, see what happens.
Do that. Let us know. Hit that subscribe button for all these people if you're not subscribed to them. Bearded Picker, Silver Hair Stacker, Upside Down Picker. Jim and Tara, do you still have your channel?
There's nothing on it anymore.
Okay, well,
I don't think there's any videos on it.
No. I think y'all need to focus on when y'all sitting around doing nothing at night, doing whatever somebody said about the adventures of
We
Jim.
always are doing stuff at night.
I still want to see a video of you riding, Tara.
That's cute. I got this whole suit crisis I'm going through right now.
Cool.
Suit as in lawsuit or suit as in clothes?
Suit as in somebody wants me to show a horse Saturday night and I need a day coat, a 3-piece suit, and I'm waiting for one that I ordered to come in the mail. So I'm hoping it comes by tomorrow or Friday.
Well, Jim, get your camera out and videotape a ride if you have to do it.
Oh boy.
Then we can just leave jokes and
all right. Okay.
funny comment.
Videotape and leave the commentary in there for us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Tara, you rode like a piece of shit. Oh, thanks, honey.
I swear, when they used to do that, they used to do the shows out by the trailer with 4 inches of snow on the ground. And Jim's like, and this is such and such. And I think we paid $1.75 for it. Charlie's like, no, it was like $3.25. You got to speed it up. I'm freezing to death out here.
Yeah, well, he'd get a little long-winded. It
Well,
was
she'd
cold.
run the camera with no gloves on.
I had gloves.
She'd be barehanded running the camera.
I
or
had
you'd have like
gloves.
those dancing thin gloves or whatever.
Well, see, you
Well,
know,
how
How the hell am I
you're
gonna?
stopping. I'm like, it looks like we're on a boat when you film it. She's like shifting from foot to foot. Well, my feet were cold. Well, we're flipping boots.
I did have boots on, and how am I gonna hold the camera with big chopper mitts on?
I didn't think y'all put on shoes until it got to like 10 below zero up
No,
there.
they're
Yeah.
like the Flintstones out there.
Yeah. Mhm.
But those were the best. I would just sit there and cackle, and then I have to watch it back again to see what they actually sold, because just the interaction between the two of them.
Oh boy.
My wife and I would be fighting. Anyway, y'all have a great day. Thank you for coming in. I'll see you next Wednesday. Look for Todd tomorrow. And Scott, send out a notice when you get ready to do a nighttime one.
All
Bye-bye.
right.
Bless your
Goodbye.
heart.
See ya.